So we hit a record high on downloads last month for the month of October. So thank you guys for that, for helping us hit that. We appreciate it. Don't forget to leave us a rating and review. I'm saying this at the beginning because if I don't, I'll forget about it. And
You know, I think that's honestly amazing. You said what, 51? 51, like maybe globally or whatever.
Oh, on the charts?
As far as downloads. I mean, honestly, that's pretty amazing. And so,
well, basically what that is like popularity and ratings.
yeah, so that's amazing. I don't know how that all happens. I am going to learn it because at some point I want to be into probably a podcast. But to me, that's pretty amazing that here you are. You already have a few different jobs that you do. You work for Medevac, and then you also are working with the sheriff's department as their pilot and stuff like that. And so I think you agree with some of the things that me and you, that I shared with you and somebody I introduced you to. You know, I just talked to a guy yesterday at church that works for a general contractor as a lineman. And I think the average person, and I've known this for a long time because I've been self-employed, our government, one thing they have done right is set up the tax system for anybody that does have a business, whether it's a side gig or a home-based business of some sort. I'm telling you right now, I shared a little bit of that with Thomas when me and him went hunting, because, you know, he does really well, and so does, you know, my son-in-law, you know, Matt, working for the company here, a power company. And Matt works in the gas department. Thomas is a lineman in the electric part of the company. But the thing of it is, these guys are paying, I mean, the government loves those people. Uncle Sam loves those people. I'm not going to repeat it, but the amount of taxes that they're paying every 2 weeks and it's taken out of their check is crazy.
It is.
And so we're basically, you know, told growing up, buy a house because you get tax benefits, and then you can, you know, get equity in the house, which is good. And then most likely the value of the house is going to increase unless you have a crash like we did in 2008 that will, you know, clean your clock. And so what happens is, the problem with that is, I mean, it's a good thing because you want to buy it anyway, because if you're renting, you're almost throwing it down the drain. Yeah. But the other thing is, I guess it really depends where you are in life. And, you know, for how many years, 20 years, I had that 10 acres and that 4,300 square foot house and the 1,200 square foot house with trees and a lake. And, oh, my God, I spent so much time trying to keep it manicured, trying to keep it. So it's where you're at. So like right now at my age now, 66, I'm like, I don't want to be doing that stuff. I don't want to spend the time. My life, you know, is numbered. I don't, you know, the Bible says there's a appointed time to be born and a time to die. And, you know, it says redeem the time, for the days are evil, which I think you would agree that days are evil. And so personally, myself, like, I'm stepping it up. Like we talked about Cam Haynes and David Goggin. Like, I got to have somebody, like, I've done motivational speaking in large crowds, but I always want to listen and be influenced by somebody that is going way beyond what I thought I could do, because we all have limitations. Right. And so we put them on ourselves.
A lot of times it's just our minds.
It's in our mind. The Bible says, in fact, what does the Bible say? As a man thinketh
in his heart, so is he.
So is he. And so you've got to use somebody else to stretch it. But back to the tax thing is I think you learn the value of having a side gig, whatever it is, and, you know, Mid-Valley Mercenaries, and all the money that you spent on all the tools it takes to be a successful duck hunter, right?
Or that, or just filming it too.
Yeah, just filming it, even that stuff. But I mean, I would have to ask people, how many people that listen to this, how many people entertain other people? Most people do. Yeah. You have friends, you have family. Do you ever talk about things? For instance, in your case, did you ever talk about Mid-Valley Mercenaries? Yes. Did you buy waders? Yes. Did you buy a boat?
Did you go to lunch?
Do you go to lunch? Look, if you treat this like a business, okay, you have all the tax advantages of almost any large corporation that you can write off all this stuff. In fact, according to certain things, and I have a bookkeeper. So the one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to spend my quality time learning all the tax codes to do all that. But if you pay somebody that does that as a business, the write-offs you have, you're already doing it through your whole life. If you have anything going on, especially like you do, and you learned, I mean, I don't know what you have to say about that, but you were probably a little blown away about tax advantages that you can have.
I haven't even told you the final word.
Oh, really?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, so you'll have to tell me after this. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
But my point is, did it kind of like I knew that you could be doing this kind of stuff because I've been doing it forever, since I'm 23.
Yeah.
And I, like I said, I told Thomas the same thing. I go, dude, you got it. I mean, he's got some good things going on in his life because he makes really good income, buying his own house and all the stuff that he's doing. The thing of it is, the one area in his life he doesn't have, whether it's a home-based business or something that he can use all the write-offs because he's already doing all the stuff. He's already entertained. In fact, we're going over there for dinner tonight. He's doing all this stuff, and we're going to talk. But if you had that, you could literally write off so much stuff.
Yeah. That
you're already doing to help you if you feel like you're being taxed to death.
Right.
I can remember, this is a funny thing. Okay, so I'm 66. So when I graduated in 1973. And, I can be working, and I've been working like on our farm and everything for as long as I can remember, my dad's farm. I mean, I was probably 5 or 6 years old when I drove my first, my dad's truck out in the field and didn't know there was anything above gear 1 because my older brother said, oh yeah, drive it over there so the combine could empty the seed into the truck. And I did that, and I literally had that thing pegged in first gear. And when I actually came back, the radiator was steaming. It was not good. But I didn't know there was a second and a third, and I could barely look over the top of the steering wheel. But anyway, so having a job outside of the farm, doing that, I remember. And back then, just think about it, because of inflation, the money that I received during that check wasn't that much. But in my mind, as a young person, I'm thinking, look at this. They're taking this out of my check.
Right, as a young kid.
I had to mentally, separate myself from looking at that because, it aggravated me so bad that they're taking this money
as a kid.
And then what happens is you just realize that is life. And, it wasn't always that way because the central bank and all that stuff, and that wasn't always how it was. IRS is not even, even a U.S. Anyway, I don't want to get into that necessarily right now, but that is a whole nother thing. And once upon a time, they did not take taxes out. Okay, I will put it that way. They did not take taxes out, but you begin to accept it, and just think about accepting the fact that you're having $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 or more taken out of your check every week or 2 weeks. So you don't even think, after it gets to some point where you don't even think about it. But what if there was a way that you could actually have write-offs for all the stuff you're already doing anyway?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be worth it?
Well, it's not
let me tell you, there is. And it's legal. Tax evasion is illegal, and avoidance through legal means is available to anybody. In fact, I was just talking to another, he doesn't work where Thomas does, but he actually does the same type of thing. I don't know if you know him, Bigfoot.
The guy,
Sarah's husband.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a super cool guy. I like him a lot. But anyway, we got into a good conversation after church, and him and Sarah were there yesterday, and they got into a good conversation about the taxes and stuff like that. And he said he was telling Sarah, we need something on the side. And the thing of it is, you don't even have to show a profit, say, for the first 3 years. You can't treat it like a hobby. And what I mean by that, it's just not some little hobby thing. But if you treat it like a business and you hire somebody, like the person I introduced you to, and they're professionals in it, why not?
Yeah.
It's legal.
It's nothing shady. It's
nothing.
It's what you're supposed to do if you have a business.
If
so.
you know it. But the problem is, knowledge. You've heard this before. Knowledge is power, and at least I knew enough for the longest time to take my documents and give it to them and let them do it and say thank you and the money they save. So,
yeah.
Anyway, so it was able to help you, huh?
Yeah, I'll talk to you later in a little more details, but it was just like
praise God.
It's funny because
did it take a load off you?
Instantly. You know, what's going on here? I'm trying to pull up some information for this episode, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it did.
Yeah. So knowledge is power,
to say the least.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and knowledge is power, and
I don't know this, but I'm assuming, and I hate to assume too much, but I'm assuming anybody, if you had 14,000 people listen to your podcast last year, I'm pretty sure that a good portion of those people maybe have a job, maybe work for someone else, and some of them I'm sure have their own business, and if they do, they know the benefits. But I think, me personally, this is just me. I think you're all about helping people, sharing information. I mean, look at Mid-Valley Mercenaries, all the educational things you do with dogs and showing what you can do with the dogs, and just even the hunting is helping people. Well, I think we'd all agree the whole idea here is to help. It's like almost like a community of people, like-minded, where we can help each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that right there is something that you might want to ask him.
Yeah.
How valuable that is. Maybe in your comments. Maybe in the comments somebody said, "Hey, I like some help about that." To me, I'd love to help people that way.
Yeah.
And basically, it isn't always because you need to have the knowledge, the deep knowledge yourself.
Right.
But you're directing people.
Yes,
you're directing people in ways that they can get it themselves, because you don't want to be an accountant. You don't want to be a bookkeeper. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, you're living life. You're busy doing other things. You can only learn so much, but why not let somebody do that's done it for 25 years?
Yeah, leverage
or 30 years, 40 years.
Leverage yourself, and trust me, there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear.
Yeah.
God doth not give us a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind.
Yep.
And I know. When I first shared it with you, you was like, I'm putting my trust in you and them. And
only because I know you have the knowledge. Other than that, I have no other, right?
Yeah.
Because
I have a track record.
Trust is something you don't see. You don't see the end result. You're going off of trusting in that person or individual or God or whoever it is, right?
Right.
That's a mixture of faith, hope, and trust. I mean, it's just all a mixture of those. And it's like, it ain't trust or it ain't faith, it ain't hope if you've already seen it.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's already come to pass, that takes no faith for me to believe in something. But when you're dealing with it yourself.
Well, especially when you got an entity like the Internal Revenue Service that has basically said, they can threaten people to death and put the fear of God in them.
Yeah.
In people, and they don't have the experience. I mean, my track record with this bookkeeper that I introduced you to is 42 years. And I know what they've done for me through that time. And so I'm not just blowing smoke. I have that track record, and what can be done legally is what I'm saying.
Oh, for sure. Now, there is a lot of people out there. I've seen the stuff they're doing. I'm like, oh, you're going to get in so much trouble. I knew this one guy. He was buying farm equipment. He lived in the city. And he worked for a Maine corporation that had nothing to do with farming. And he was saying he had a farming business. Oh, no land. He's going to get fried one day. Yeah. Now, I guess what we're kind of talking about when my dad's a little bit referring to me is just all the write-offs that I was getting write-off. Okay, I had write-offs. I knew about write-offs. But I didn't realize all the things that were write-offs. There was major ones I was like, oh. And so what it's doing is just helping. And it's like, my goodness. But
so that runs right into this conversation then. Has anybody filled their tank up with gas recently? So what do you feel about that? And I'm pretty sure a majority of the people that listen to this podcast probably never voted for Biden.
Probably not.
And So whether he was elected,
so you wanna
whether
go
he
into the
was
fuel?
elected or they stole the election, I got my opinion. But what I'm saying is, if you did vote for them,
How do you feel about the gas prices?
how do you feel about what I love about this time is the fact that every time any of those people, all 100 of those people that voted for Biden, all 100 of them, every time they go to the gas station, they're basically getting taxed or hit. Unfortunately, it's affecting a whole lot of good people that did not vote for that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to say this, okay?
Say it. Don't
Okay,
stop holding back.
I was 23 in 1979 when I started my first business that I had. It was a roof truss manufacturing business that I moved from Oregon, started in California. I said this before, but some of the people that are on here, you weren't born. Jimmy Carter wasn't president when you were born, I guarantee you, because I got married. Me and Mom got married in 1982, and you were born in 84.
Mm-hmm.
So by then, President Ronald Reagan was president. But Jimmy Carter, in my lifetime, was the worst ever individual that was elected or put in as president. He was an embarrassment all over the world. There was the Iran Contra, the hostages. People were burning flags. People were, doing the same kind of things is what I'm saying. They were hammering, and people were basically ashamed of this country at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which is like what we feel right now.
yeah,
As far as stuff that's being done.
yeah, stuff that's being done.
Portland.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, like Antifa and everything
Yeah.
that's going on and all the stuff we talked about before. But my point was going to be is about inflation because you talked about it. Maybe get into that, and this is a perfect.
Well, let me say that. Let me do this plug real quick.
Okay.
Miller Outdoor Adventures. They're sponsoring the podcast, and they've got hunts. You guys should really check them out. They're located in Northeast Arkansas on the Cache River. They do rice and bean field hunts. They got all kinds of stuff, all kinds of opportunity out there. Anyways, it's $500 a day for a group, whether it's one person or 8 people. If it's 8 people, it's $62.50 a day. If you mention the MVM show, you'll get $50 off a day for that group. And so, which I think that's really cool that they offered that and that they're sponsoring this podcast. They're family friendly, dog friendly. They let you bring your own dog if you want to hunt with your own dog, which I know a lot of us do. I got Rocky. They do duck and snow goose conservation hunts. On Facebook, Miller Outdoor Adventure NEA. Website is milleroutdooradventures.com. Don't forget to mention the MVM show. Phone number is 870-586-3004. And they don't actually have a ton of days left in, actually, is that the updated one? Because he gave me an updated.
That's pretty amazing, really.
The snow goose conservation hunt is not a lot of days left. There, as of now, when we're recording this, doesn't mean it'll be available when you guys call. If you do, February 20 and 21 is available, and then March 5, 6, and 12. So there's not
2022.
2022, and guided snow goose prices are 3+ hunters, $150 each per day. So that's a little bit different. Guided duck hunt prices, 2 hunters are $300 each per day. 3 hunters, $200 each per day. 4 hunters, $175 per day, and then 5 hunters are $150 plus.
How far is Arkansas from here? Have you ever checked
It's driveways.
Yeah, like say if you were.
I want to say it's like 30 hours.
Oh, 30 hours.
Well, depending on exactly where he's at. Like I didn't look at the city. I don't think he put the city.
Actually,
but
if 4 or 5 guys were in a vehicle, I mean, we're talking like drive through easy.
Yeah, split the gas and drive and get there quick because everybody can sleep.
That's the steal because honestly, if it's 500 and you take 50 off because of MVM, that's 450. 8 people, that's $56 a day. Like, how can you beat that?
Yeah, it might be even somewhere we actually end up going down the road.
I would be interested in personally in doing that. I just don't want to do the other.
What's that?
The muck and the mire. Your boat I will do, but
I'm sure you will.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother thing. You know what? I honestly, my thing is totally different. My thing is I like when I do duck hunting, I like to float the river.
No, let me ask you this though first, okay? Yeah, I know you do like that. We got a mountain like this, and you're at the bottom, and there's a 6-point bull elk up here.
Yeah.
Okay. You got that scenario.
Yeah.
Now you got this, but mushy, muck and mire, and there's a duck 100 yards over there.
Yeah.
That is worse than climbing up that mountain for that bull elk?
Well, the difference is an elk would be around 800 or 900 pounds, and a duck's about, 5 or 6 pounds?
If that.
And so I got a whole lot more meat than you do. It'd take you to shoot about how many? 500 or 1,000 of them to match with that.
I'm just saying.
And you know what? Honestly,
but how much money you spend and how many weeks are you out there doing it?
Well, here's the deal. I promise you one thing. Your relationship with your wife as an elk hunter isn't affected as much as a duck hunter, because you guys are hunting from...
I got her trained, though.
Yeah, well, anyway, you may have her trained, but there's a whole lot of other women that...
Yeah.
Anyway, so you aren't causing division doing your duck hunting thing, right?
Not anymore. I took some training.
Trust me, I grew up in Oregon. I hunted ducks. I hunted.
And I never said about the time away from your spouse. I just said the muck and the mire. You're making that sound like it's the most horrible thing.
Well, yeah, but I'm looking at the whole picture here because
I'm just comparing a simple illustrations. All I want to know.
Yeah. Okay, so here's an elk up here, and there's this. It's the thing. Like I said, I like going down the river. I'm in Merced River. You're by yourself right now. The trees are turning colors. I've seen a mountain lion going down there. I've seen some really big deer going down there. I take a varmint call with me. Every once in a while I would stop and varmint call, and then you might shoot, get a coyote or whatever. So it's super exciting, and it is kind of fun if you ever tried it. When the river is kind of moving fast and the birds are flying over. That's actually where I shot my first wood duck on the Merced River. But they're flying over, and you're trying to shoot on the move. It's just like pretty fun, But so each to his own. I'm not. I think it's great that you do it.
Oh, we're just bantering.
We're just having fun. But the thing to me and Thomas were talking this yesterday. To be honest with you, I've shot enough things with my rifle. Not saying I wouldn't go do it again, but it's not like my passion. Like my passion is archery hunting. Period. And the passion that goes along with that is bulls in the rut.
It's the journey.
It's a journey.
Bottom line, that's what we've said about duck hunting, big game hunting, anything.
Totally.
It's the journey.
Yeah.
And it is a rush. I've done it with you a bazillion times growing up with the archery and seen the most amazing things that most people will never see in their life.
Exactly.
Almost getting walked over by elk and having them scream right in your face and bugle back to you. I used to be able to, I could have elk answer me calling with my voice.
This guy right here.
Back when I was still before pre-puberty.
I'm not kidding. You know what, though? If you'd have kept doing that, you might have.
Maybe.
But honest to God, I've used a lot of different calls. My first one was a call because I have a bridge from an axe, for teeth. So my palate, it's a little messed up to use the calls that you read that you put inside. It's a little hard to get it to fit right and everything like that. But I'm not kidding you. What age would you be? 12, 13?
Before, I was. It was like probably between 10 and 12 is when I could do that the best.
I'm not kidding you. I took this dude right here. I used to have him call in front of the people, and he's like, "Dad, stop it!" He didn't. He didn't like it. But
I still remember that little old school elk tube. Without the reed. Obviously, I was doing it with my voice.
Yeah.
But it was probably about that long. I remember having it curled up. It could curl and bend, and I could just call.
I'm not kidding you. His call. One time in particular, I'll never forget it. Do you remember that time those cows came to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like I don't have that much personal experience where I ever called where cows actually came like they did that time. But that was you that did that calling, and seriously, the cows came in even.
Yeah.
Do you remember there was like two or three of them?
Man, I wish we would have had that on video.
Oh my!
I would love to watch that now.
That would have been amazing.
Because I could chuckle, bugle, I'd scream like growl, like really growl into it.
And we're talking awesome.
Yeah. And I wouldn't say just brag on myself, but I know that it was pretty good.
It was very good,
and it was fun to do. I liked it, but I can't.
He grew out of it. Got testosterone in his voice changed, and he got tired of me asking him to do it
in front of everybody.
I was proud of him, because to me it was pretty amazing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
but back to the whole inflation thing.
Well, yeah, let's go to the fuel prices. You kind of mentioned that. So what are you paying? We're in California. What's your cheap price for paying? Because you just mentioned filling the car
so
up.
I literally just filled up my Jeep this morning, and it was $429.
$429. Okay.
That was it's actually
cheaper than a lot of other places I've seen.
Trust me, right now it's cheaper in other places. And right now in where we live, Costco for us
is the best.
It's the best price.
Is it all around?
Well, I mean,
for regular unleaded.
Yeah, regular unleaded.
Okay, $429.
Okay, so what I did is I pretty much every time in my phone, in my calendar, you know, I have stuff that I'm going to do for the day, and then I add to it. But like when I go fill up, I put the prices, and you know that I spent like per gallon, so I can kind of track it, you know, the ups and downs. And you know, my belief is, like, you may think it's bad now, but if you know President Trump seems to know when things are going to happen, and he said we are going to go through some major inflation. You know, and because of what they're doing, they cut out the Keystone Pipeline, and now we don't have the fuel. We're not a supplier to the world. Now he's trying to, you know who is trying to get from the Russians and, you know, from the Middle East. But my point is, I started last time I remember this happened 1 week after another. It was $3.95 when I went and filled up. The next week when I went and filled up, it was $3.99. Then it was $4.05. Then it was $4.09, and in 1 week when I went to fill up again, it went to $4.29.
And I'll tell you right now, that is cheap compared to most places right now.
And so I asked the guy at Costco. So from my understanding, in California, there's a summertime fuel, an additive that they put in. And I asked the guy at the station, he acted like he didn't even know about it, because I said, I was just kind of mess around, but I said, shouldn't the prices be going down because summer's over and that additive is going to be taken out, right? Like, why isn't it going down right now? And so I want you just to think about that whole thing right there. Every time you go to fuel up, what do you think about it? What is that doing to your disposable income? Things that you would do, such as, you know, maybe travel, maybe you know, Christmas is around the corner. People want to buy things, right? And I'm sure most people that are listening to this podcast realize that there's a lot
of these people drive lot, commute,
cargo ships, people that are commuting. How much money is that taken out of your
pocket?
Out of part of your income that even goes to food. How's the food look to y'all? Has it went up? I say, yeah, it's went up major. The food prices. Because think about this. I told you guys how many months ago when you were thinking about, I'm just saying it's a seller's market. If you're ever going to sell right now, might be a really good time because of how fast things are selling. Did I not say about inflation, what's going to happen? Did I not say it's so much of what happens as far as fuel prices, I mean, as far as all the things that we purchase are attached to fuel. If fuel goes up and truckers have to haul the items to grocery stores, right?
Right.
What's going to happen to everything? It's going to go up. That's inflation, right? So it's not when people talk about, oh, the price of a house, it's this amount. It's because the dollar is worth less.
Yeah.
The dollar's worth less because they dump a bunch of money. The government dumps a bunch of money out there, and the value of the dollar is less what it can buy. So I have it's kind of interesting because I'm pretty sure probably most people have seen it, but I had a little book because I was born in 1955. I should have brought it. That would have been really interesting to show you what.
Oh yeah.
How much
You'll
was
have to bring that sometime.
How much was a gallon of gas? Now I can remember when I was probably a teenager thereabouts. Somewhere I don't remember exactly, but I remember when gas was 29 cents a gallon. So.
Well, I remember when it was 99 cents. In California. Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen it 99 cents when I was an adult in other states. Those are long gone. Those days are long gone.
Well, what's crazy about it, you know, sometimes we talked about this before too, in your lifetime, you know, so I was born in 55 till here it is 2021. I've seen a lot more different things. So here I was I believe it was 1973 when they had the oil embargo back then. And because of Jimmy Carter, and you know what was going on with that whole thing. And so they had odd and even days, and there was major shortage of gas supposedly, and that you could only get gas certain times. It wasn't like you could just go to the pump anytime you wanted to.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and so, you know, I've seen some things like that. But I do remember I had double-digit inflation, double-digit unemployment, and actually interest rates around 21%. And so think about what the interest rates are now, but, you know,
that could change overnight, huh?
Oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, it's not looking good. So
well, I've seen so many places. So what's weird, I think, is maybe you can explain this to me. Is so when I bought my truck in 2016, I bought it brand new in February 2016, and all the years prior to that, for several years, diesel was way cheaper than regular unleaded. Right? Well, right when I bought my truck 2 months later, diesel is higher than regular, Supreme, or Plus. And I'm like, are you kidding me? When I finally buy a diesel truck, this is what happens. Well, anyways, when Trump came in, I think, well, what year? That was 16, right?
Yeah, 16.
Shortly after that, not even a year later, it swapped. And I was like, yes, you know. So I've kind of been on the top side of it, getting the better deals, having the diesel. But then since Biden got in, and I'm not just bringing him out, but it's the exact truth. It literally flopped again. And I've been noticing everywhere that my diesel is more for sure than regular unleaded, and it's more than most places with their Supreme or Plus, whatever the middle one is, the mid-grade 89 octane. I'm like, are you kidding me? So now for the most part, I'm paying like $4.59, and I can't tell you how many places I've driven by, not around here, but well, around here too, some stations 509, and this is regular unleaded too. So we're definitely well over the fives. I don't know what like LA right now, what the most expensive fuel is in LA, but I've seen some stuff. I don't know if it's true, like in the sixes. And you've seen similar to that with Jimmy Carter, right? I mean, maybe not that, but for that time it was triple.
So in 2005, it's kind of funny because like I look at cycles, and back in 2005, I actually in 1999 I bought that property on 10 acres, and so for several years, you remember the two tanks that I had out there, right, at that property?
Yeah,
I had a 500-gallon diesel tank, and I had a 500-gallon gas tank, because gas and diesel, in many cases, because I bought volume, what I would do is I would check in with the person that sells volume, and I would see how much they're selling it for. And if the gas stations were higher and I was ready to buy, in many cases I was able to buy fuel a lot cheaper. And sometimes, based on certain things, I might only fill up that 500-gallon tank half to halfways, so around 250. And so what I would do is I'd have this storage of diesel and gas. So most people that live in town, they're not able to do that, but I did do that. It was above ground tanks. And so what happened is, I believe it was about 05, and some people are going to think, oh yeah, tree hugger, whatever, but I'm about saving the money at that particular time in my life. And you know, I had that 4x4 Ford F-250 turbo diesel, but I ended up getting rid of the Lexus, and I bought a brand new Toyota Prius. And so that Toyota Prius, I got like 42 miles a gallon. And right when that hit in 05, I had bought that, and I had filled up both tanks with gas and diesel. So I got it on the very low end. It was just like the stock market, you know, buying right.
Right.
So literally, because the car would get somewhere in the neighborhood of 42, 43, 44 miles per gallon, I bought it at, I hate to say exactly what it was, because I think it was around 225, somewhere in that neighborhood. Or 250, somewhere in that neighborhood, but I bought it at $2 and something. And diesel, I don't remember exactly what that was, but I filled them both up. Well, if you remember that next year, that whole year, dude, it went like diesel was at every bit as high as it is right now.
Oh, that year.
Yeah.
Wow.
And gas went up as crazy as it is right now. And so that whole entire year, that Prius, that 500, close to 500 gallons that I had in that tank, I was using that fuel, that gas, out of that tank. And so that cost me $2 something versus where it went up to $4 or $5, you know? And so I used it that way. So I was able to save money that way. But like I said, the average person can't do that. But I just know for a fact, as far as inflation, everything that we purchase, think about all the things, find out what is made of petroleum products. I'm pretty sure there's some type of petroleum product in your whatever that piece of equipment is called, in this duck and whatever. If you really stop and think about it, petroleum products are in there. And so it's finally coming through the whole market. And unless something changes really fast, the inflation is going to be not good at all. And so that cuts into if you work a job, again, if you could save money on your taxes, okay, legally, wouldn't that be a good thing? Because you stop and think about it, whether it's your fuel or food or anything else, that's taken out of the set amount of income that you do have, and it's going to affect everybody. And I believe more and more that's going to wake up people, the fact that if they made the guy that's in now, they made the wrong choice.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah. So find a good tax person.
Yeah. Well, like you said, you kind of brought up the Christmas thing. It's like, man, the just one example, which is the fuel, is an example of how much that's cutting into what you're doing, which I know a lot of people are working at home now because of COVID. So
why are the highways and interstates so busy then?
Right.
Why is there
It's gotten busy
bumper calls
all the time now?
Yeah.
Man, how nice was that? When oh my goodness, when that was going on, well, you were driving truck, you seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
But it was just like me going. I was working out in Stockton right then at that moment, and it was just like, this is incredible. I hate what's going on right now, but I'm loving this. It was like being in another state, because when I go to other states and work, I'm like, this right here makes me want to leave California. Is dealing with the stinking traffic.
Yeah, well, I don't know anybody that's in California, but you ever notice, like, I've traveled all over, and do you ever notice the roads in California?
Potholes everywhere.
Everywhere. Freeways. They're working on the roads a lot right now, but it's like, I honestly, other states that you go through, you can cross the border and go into Oregon. Oregon's roads, or the interstate, is 100 times better than it is in California.
Most states.
Go east. And it's 100 times better in California. Yeah. It's like they can put in brand new roads, and you got dips, or they're tearing it up, and they're always repairing. Always. And it's like,
it's so bad right now.
Why don't they have somebody from out of state that knows what they're doing come in and
I know, because obviously our guys don't. You go from Bakersfield to Sac, it is road construction all in between there. I've been to both places within the last 2 months, and it's solid. There's always something going on. But then you get past Sac, nothing. Clear, good roads, good. It's like, what is it with this stinking section?
Well, I know part of what's going on in our area too. They've got the 10th UC campus, and they're making these bypasses around. Yeah. Part of that. But
that's not really affecting.
That's not Sacramento.
99.
That's not Stockton.
Right. Yeah.
You know, that's not Modesto.
And Visalia, Bakersfield, like all these places, I mean, it's just constantly, it's like, and here's the thing is, I know you got to do it. You got to fix the roads at some point. And it's always going to cause an issue. But as long as I've been driving, that's how it's been. I feel like. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee you it's like that way before I was ever driving. Mm-hmm. It's like, what is that? Is it just more traffic or what?
Excuse me.
You might have to put that little
joke.
I don't know, but it's just so frustrating. But once again,
well. Think about this. This is something whole nother thing. I could go off in so many rabbit trails, but I've said this so many times, man. It's like we know a lot of people at one point, you know, with the whole COVID thing. A lot of people are working out of the home, which I've worked out of the home.
I need to push it a little bit. grab them. Yeah, there you go.
I've worked out of the home and doing webinars for years, but you think of those people that are going back and forth, that we know some of them that are, building over in the Bay Area, working for people in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Hope. Okay. Well, anyway, all you got to do is take a little ride in the morning and the night going over the Bay Area, and you can have 4 or 5 lanes that are bumper to bumper. Going over there in the morning and coming back at night, stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. And I've thought so many times, man, like, think about your life. Okay, every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, every year. Imagine this. Do some quick math. Okay, most of the time when you go over there, if you have to drive over there, it's going to take minimum 2, but most likely 3 because of stop and go. Then it's going to take 2 or 3 coming back. Okay, so that's anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, right? You're doing that 5 times a week. 5 times 5 is 25 hours. Okay, like that's 25 hours that you have spent.
Never get back.
What is it? 186,400 seconds or something like that in a day? It's something like that. And if you thought about it as money, you're spending your life second by second.
It'll make you think a little bit more about it when you start looking at it like that. Like,
totally, man. Bible says, redeem the time for the days are evil. Redeem the time. Okay, so you're redeeming your time.
Well, and me and you've had lots of conversations about that, because people, if you're listening right now and you're a commuter, you got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do.
And we're not bashing that, because trust me, my dad's been on the road for thousands of hours. I have commuted for 9 years, and let me tell you right now. Let's see. So you said seconds are in a day?
I think it's 186,400 if I remember.
It says 1440, right? How many seconds in a day?
How many seconds in a day?
Yeah, well, 60
times
what
24.
Do you do? Don't you go 60 times 60?
Huh?
You got to go 60 times 60 first, right? 60 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes an hour.
Right.
That's 3,600 times 24. 86,400.
Okay.
Seconds in a day. What'd you say?
I said 184,600.
I think that's right. 60 times 60 times 24.
You might be right. 86,400.
Okay. And I always thought about that. I'm a numbers guy, and when I was doing ag, I was constantly thinking about how quick I could get the loads out in crop dusting out of a helicopter, spraying these fields, right? Like, and when I say fast, I mean not flying faster. You can only go so fast. But my point was, and this is what I did, okay? Starting day one, I got 100 loads to do on this field, okay? To get this field done at so many gallons an acre per acre, all this stuff, this is how many loads I have to do, okay? I would think at the beginning, I could tell you down almost to the minute when I would be done with that field, because I knew how long it would take to spray that load out, how long it would take me to fly back to the truck, land on the truck, the guy hook me up, fill it up, and me take off again. And I would be looking at what I made per hour, what I made per minute, what I made per second. You could calculate that, right? And so what would bug me as somebody that's on that mindset and being paid off of commission, basically, was I used to have a loader that I would want to just knock out, because and here's the mindset difference. Think about this. And that's why I said you guys are always messing up. And I've told the owners back in the day when I worked there, you guys are messing this up. You need to pay the loaders commission off the job and change their mindset, because they're getting paid by the hour.
Yeah.
I'm getting paid by the job. How do you think that's going to mesh? That doesn't mesh. That guy could care less how long it takes me to spray that field, because he's getting paid by the hour. I want to get it done, because the quicker I get it done, the more efficient I am, the more money I make, right? And the more of my life I get to be back home, because my commute was an hour and a half one way. So 3 hours, I would talk to you all the time. I'd work there 6 days, 7 days a week for years. 3 hours a day, let's just say 6 days, that's 18 hours a week. That's 36 2 weeks, that's 72 a month, just driving.
Yeah, and
that's 3 days of my life.
Are you making money during that time?
No.
Are you away from your family during that time?
Yes.
Yes. So,
but that's 3 days, Dad, a month.
Yeah, that's
of my life.
Yeah.
Think about this: drive for 3 days, and never stop.
Yeah,
just driving. That's what I was doing every month for years. And I know there's people with worse stories than that. And I used to think, and what I did, how I alleviated that and made the best of it, because you got to do the best what you can.
Yeah.
Is I would listen to tons of preaching.
Right.
I would listen to podcasts that were informational and would make my mind smarter.
Yeah.
I would listen to YouTube videos on instructionals on how to edit videos and how to edit pictures. And I would make phone calls. I was on the phone all the time because I was like, I'm either going to call somebody and encourage them, or call somebody and check in on them, or I'm going to call somebody just to talk and build relationship.
Right.
Because I'm not going to waste that many hours of my life staring into the void.
Yeah.
Wasting.
So you're leveraging your time
as best you can when you're driving.
Yeah, exactly. But when you really put it in perspective and you play with the numbers a little bit, and I think this, to me, your time is invaluable, whether you're a teenager, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. It's invaluable, right?
Yes.
But the thing of it is, I don't think you realize, most people, as a 20-year-old or a teenager, how valuable, because most people want to become 21. Most people at that point want to get married, and most, or whatever. And then they're doing this, but then you wake up. I'm just telling you from my perspective is this, and I started realizing that long time ago about leveraging yourself, because there's a guy, he was the richest man in the world at one time, John Paul Getty, and he said, I'd rather have 1% of the efforts of 100 people rather than 100% of your own efforts.
Yeah.
So basically, when you go from home and you go to work, wherever that may be, okay, you're spending your time driving there, then you work, then you're spending your time back. Okay, when you're 100% of your own efforts, you're getting paid hourly or commissions based on your efforts during that time. See, the Bible says, all that you do as unto the Lord. So somebody that's working hourly, not only you want to do it for your family, but if you also think when nobody's looking, if you are working hourly, I'm doing this unto the Lord. This is doing unto the Lord, and I'm going to do my best. And I've done that when I've been sweeping. But you know what's amazing about that is, like, it's only a matter of time before you're noticed. And employees are so invaluable right now. Think about it, shortages. And when somebody puts 100% of the efforts and treats somebody else's business like their business, trust me, from a owner, operator, those people are invaluable. So if you do it as unto the Lord and get rid of the mindset that, they're only paying me $20 an hour or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. You could be making $50 an hour and say they're only paying me $50 an hour.
I mean, that's what we do. That's what people do.
That's what
they do it every day. It don't matter what you're making.
No. So if you do it as unto the Lord, though, and you really think that He's watching and seeing what you do, and He's going to honor that because that's His word, then you have a different outlook.
Yep. And to add on to that, look at these multi-millionaires, sports players that are still griping and trying to get more. It's like, what in the world, man? You're making $80 million and you're not going to take a contract at a new place for $120 because they don't get my skill. They don't know my skill. I'm worth at least $200 million. It's like, that's warped.
They're
in
warped.
The head or something.
They're warped.
I mean,
but that's what the world is. So the bottom line is,
well, in general, even whoever you are, that's people are in general. They always want more, and it goes back to, well,
broke at a higher level.
That, but also the gratitude.
What's that?
Gratitude.
Yeah.
If you don't have gratitude in your life, whether you're making a minimum wage or you're making 100 million, you're never gonna be happy.
No.
And we're gonna do an episode on that soon. Me and my dad, we got some things to go over. I think it would really helps me. I encourage you guys. Man, we're already at 15 minutes. We're
time flies when we're having fun.
Yeah, and these are great conversations. We didn't even touch what I was wanting to touch on this episode, and I'm not trying to cut you off. I think it's probably a good point to end this. And man, I've been making notes. I'm like, okay, now I can't remember everything we covered because we covered a lot of things, but it was all good.
Yeah.
So
it's fun.
We'll just end this one here. And again, I thank you guys for all the feedback. You guys have been letting us know that you like it and everything. And we got a lot of good videos coming out on the YouTube channel. And I don't even want to get into it. I just need to end this episode. So we'll see you guys in the next one.